Waiting for a heating oil delivery, and I thought it was a good time to make a crust for the strawberry rhubarb pie that I'm planning on making. So I started off, I really wish when I wrote a recipe that I typed it up immediately afterwards, because this is what I'm working with. Pretty, huh? So it looks to, I definitely see a stick of butter. The cassava flour, that's the question mark. Could be a quarter, could be a half. I'm guessing a quarter, so I've left this stick of butter out for long enough that it gives to my finger. And I am adding, I'm going to start with the cassava flour. Now I have an old pie crust maker. Oh, somewhere in here. Never mind. I got a potato masher. I've got an old pie crust maker that my grandmother gave me years ago. And what I like about it is it lets you do this. And it just blends the flour nicer than a potato masher. But I don't feel like bringing out the mixer. In case you haven't noticed, I'm just not in love with a mixer. Maybe if I had a better mixer, I would be. But I actually like doing this myself, just manually. So as soon as we get this looking like, almost like a cornmeal, once it's all the flours blended into it, I will add in the next ingredient. That actually looks good enough. Next ingredient is 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. See, my little pie crust masher has, it's almost, I can't find it. There. This is me trying to be spontaneous. The oil guy's taking longer than I thought. He usually is here like early in the morning, but we're expecting a cold snap, so we asked to be pushed up to the top of the list, and now we're going to wait for that. Out here in the middle of the woods. Luckily we've got firewood, but that does not keep the second floor very warm. Okay, see, that's coming along really nicely. Come over here. Next ingredient is arrowroot, and it looks like I've got 3/4 of a cup. Now what I like about arrowroot in a crust, this is obviously a gluten-free pie crust because that's the only kind I'd be making. The arrowroot helps it to hold together. What arrowroot does, and this is Bob's Red Mill, is it's great for thickening soups, sauces, and pie fillings, and use it for gluten-free baking. So I will also use that when I chop up my strawberries and my rhubarb. I was just thrilled to see the rhubarb coming up in the garden, and I said, oh man, now's the time. Trying to have something besides brownies as my sweet little snack. Strawberries have lots of vitamin C, so I have justified this just perfectly for myself. And see how quick this comes together? Look at that. Just want to mix that up another minute or two. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar. I'm adding a teaspoon of vinegar. And what vinegar does is it helps make it flaky. If I was using plain old flour, wheat flour, it would really add some flakiness to it. But in my mind, this still makes it flaky. And today I've got some coconut vinegar. It adds a nice touch of flavor to it. So here's a teaspoon of coconut vinegar. I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. 4 tablespoons of cold water and a pinch of salt, which to me looks like that. Well, I don't know, maybe the cassava flour was more than a 1/4 cup. This looks kind of wet. This looks really wet. So, I'm going to add some more cassava flour to it. That is not a pie crust. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to add some more cassava flour. I'm going to think that that says 1/2 cup, so I'm just going to add another 1/4 cup. And then I will type this one up because the crust recipe is actually good. I made an apple strudel of sorts. I don't know if it was actually, I called it a strudel, but it was like an apple roll. I rolled this dough out, I chilled it, rolled it, and it made a really nice crust. Yeah, that's looking more like a crust. Yep. Mystery solved. It's still kind of soft, but what I'm going to do, I do not feel like rolling this, and frankly, it wouldn't roll unless it was chilled, and I don't feel like taking the time to chill it. So I am just going to press it into the pie pan. And this would work for anything that you want to make. You want to make an apple pie, a peach pie, a blueberry pie. Seasonally, strawberry rhubarb is the one to look at right now. But to press it in, I'm going to actually leave some for the top. I'm going to treat it like crumbs. So there we go. You see that? Well, you can't really hear. So you can see I'm just pressing it up the sides a little bit. I have a small pie pan here because unfortunately I can't go and see anybody and share this delicious pie with them, so it's just going to be me and my husband, because the dogs are not getting any strawberry rhubarb pie, much as they might want it. There we go. And so I have a little bit that I can leave on top, and what I'll do is I'll blend in some nuts to that so I can have a nutty top. And there we go. That is how quick and easy you can make a gluten-free pie crust. And I am going to stick this in the refrigerator and start chopping strawberries.